Okay, it took me all of maybe 2 minutes to take this off. This is the one that's acting up. The three on this side are not working. So I should be able to get in there. If I remember correctly, there are no nuts behind there because I tacked in a bottom bar to help keep the wires from coming down, as well as any elements of the weather getting in. And you can see it right there. So if I do have to run it as a channel, I can do that as well. So first thing I'm going to do is unscrew this light. I'll keep you guys around for a few minutes if you want. And if you don't want, just shut me off. I don't know if this driver is going to fit this screw or not. It does. Now, if I'm real lucky, and I think I'm going to be, because there's a rule, I plan ahead, but when I was tightening up wires and pulling wires, did I leave enough for this to come off and me actually attach to it? Now I see here something that I did do that I should have done, but that's not going to be a big deal. However, it is a little bit of a problem, and that was I put a piece of rubber backing on the bar here, and when I put this light down, I put a little sealant on it, again trying to seal everything up, and now the sealant wants to stick to the rubber backing, which is making it a little difficult to get off, but nothing serious. I think the little bit of difficulty that I'm having here outweighs the sealing of the system. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's been nice. How much of a sealant did I put on there? What did I do? Stuck it underneath the whole light? There we go. Okay. And here's the wires. So I have plenty of wire. Good. Now these are programming wires, which I don't need. Again, the yellow one is mainly your main program. And this one. But right now, I'm going to take these off. But first, I thought I marked this, but apparently I did not. I want to make sure I have, well, you know what? The only way to do it is do it. Alright, there's nothing to it but do it. So let me take this off right here, leaving a little bit of wire on here just in case. I don't think I'm going to be able to get this one working, because usually once these are gone, they're gone. And that does have some time on it. So it's a nice piece, it's just there's no name on it. And I like the way this piece worked. And it feels good weight wise, and I got, like I say, 2 years out of it. It doesn't say anywhere on it. Alright, anyway, that's where we're at with that. So, these two. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put you guys on a tripod. Yeah, I'm going to take you off of this piece of wood, and once I figure out where the hell I put the tripod, here's the new orders, which I have to print again. You know what I said? I've said it before, and you guys know it. It's nothing new. You know, if you type something out and you proofread it again and again and again, and once you got it proofread, and you think it's right, read it again. Oh, here's the tripod. And I did. And I even had the wife proofread it. Now, the wife is on the ball. She'll notice if there's a period missing or a letter in between. She's on the ball. Well, she's reading it to me, and I'm listening to it. Now, she's only reading it to me as it is, so she doesn't know what it is that we're actually doing or trying to do here. But, like, I don't know what I'm trying to do now. But, so meanwhile, she's reading it, as I said before. Okay, you guys got a little bit better picture now? Yeah, okay. Now, there's a part in there where it talks about in order to be a good member, a member of good standings, you have to have 8 drills, 8 meetings, and 8 calls a year. And it says 8 calls a year, 8 drills a year, 8 meetings a year. Under 8 calls, it says month. Well, that's a tough one. So it was supposed to be years. So again, but she didn't know that. You follow me? Because everything was correct, other than the amount of time per month, and her not being part of it. She doesn't really know, so she just read it, and it reads right, just that it was wrong. If you guys know what I mean. So I printed out 10 copies of a set of proposed bylaws, and have to change it now because of the month, which is supposed to be year. I mean, you can't ask somebody when it's a volunteer thing to do 8 calls a month. Now the thing is, you have to do so many of them within the year if you want to get credited and get a so-called bonus check, which is a stipend. But that is 30, I think it's 30 calls, or is it 40? 30 or 40 calls a year. Again, I don't remember. I'm always well over it, so I don't pay attention to it. I should know it, and I did know it, but it's something that I really didn't have to think about. It kind of, the town, again, being government, always has a way of screwing things up and screw up with numbers. For instance, if you do, I'm going to say 30 calls a year, okay? Or 60. Let's say 60. No, I can't say that either. See, it's hard to even say, even though it isn't. When you're doing your calls, if you do 20 calls, that counts as 20 points. Now you need 60 points at the end of the year. So if you do 25 calls, it's 25 points. So far, okay. You do 30 calls, each call now multiplies by 3. So now if you do 30 calls, you have 60 points. You follow me? So as soon as you hit that 30, your points triple or double. So, and that's how you end up with it. So I don't remember if it's triple or double, to be honest with you. I know it's 60, it's double, it's triple, I'm sorry. So if you get 20 calls, you end up with 60 points. And then the other 40 points that you have to earn are done in training or something. I don't remember now. I gotta look it up. That's not in the bylaws. That's just part of the town. So, but it's a joke sometimes. All right, so this is going to get connected to here. So these are going to be here. Actually, let me see something here. Yeah. Now the only problem is I can't be drilling holes in this, so I got to get those off there because these have to go this way. And those down there are going to be in the way because it's made for surface mount. But see, they don't give you room to take those off. And I don't want to drill holes in here because there's wires tunneled through there. You know, to put a small self-tapper in there is one thing, but to drill an actual hole in there, that's another. So, if those go there, and then these can go here. Okay. Alright. I can tie these in with these and keep these as a separate entity. That's what I'll do. Because I have 2 sets of power, actually 3 sets of power coming through this plug. I have 3 powers and 1 ground. And then this wire here, the ground is sufficient enough in thickness or in gauge to handle the 3. So it's 3 times the size. And it's a short ground because it goes to chassis. On the inside of the plug. On the other side where it bolts into the roof. Alright, so I gotta get these gizmos off here. And I really didn't want to just wreck the light to get them off, nor do I want to wreck the bolts in case I ever need them. However, you know what I might be able to do? I might be able to get the Dremel. Just put a little slice in that right there. That I can do. Let me turn down trimmer. Alright, so what I'm going to do is get the Dremel over here, and I'm going to put a little notch right there so that I can get these out. Or I'm going to try to anyway. Put on some power. Power. Whoop. Gotta get that out of there. I don't want the grinding wheel, I want a cutter. A cutter! So we put this over here and get out the cutter blade. There we go. Now, let's see if I can just nip the ends so I don't have to worry about cutting the ends. If I can get in there with this little pair of nippers. Come on, be nice. Well, it's not a little pair of nippers, but it's a pair of nippers anyway. Doesn't look that way. Shit. I really don't want to do it this way. Let me look in the little plier drawer. The little plier drawer. Let me see if I can bend that up enough to get under there. There we go. Okay, that'll work. Perfect. There we go. Good. Now this should come out as this one should come out. Good deal. Nice play there, Shakespeare. No shit, Sherlock. Okay, let's do the next one. What I'm doing here is just cutting a little slice in the channel, just enough to get the head of the screw through. See, what they did was they put it on before they put the ends on. Well, I'm going to tell you, at one time on an old light that I had, I unscrewed the end and they had it sealed. It was a pain in the ass, so I said, you know what? Believe it or not, it's worth it sometimes to do the cutting than it is to do a few screws to find out that that's sealed, and the next thing you know, you're cracking things to get it off. And I can see that they sealed it. There's sealing in there already. So this wouldn't just unscrew and come off. Okay, so let's do this one now. Same thing. And this is aluminum, so I don't have to worry about it rusting. But I will use some of that Rust Check that Steve Robb got me hooked on. Yeah, that's right. He got me addicted to it. It's good stuff, you know? Okay, so let's see. Did I make it enough? Come on. Yeah, I did. Okay. There we go. So if I ever do want to use these again, I can. I just got to slide them in, slide them out, and I'm done. So that's done. Okay. Now, for this, these are not going to go that way, so I have to loosen these up. I do. As soon as I find something small enough to do it with. Oh, come on. You're looking for something to use and you can't find it, and you got a drawer full of them? Yeah, this would have been a pain in the ass doing this outside. It's probably a pain in the ass here because you're not seeing what I'm doing. Because you're just seeing me arm. Me arm. You're just seeing me arm. How about if I do this? Will that help? Probably not. Probably not. This tripod is not really made for this. This is a tripod that has different heights only because it's made for the lights to go with the green screen that I put up and I haven't used. So does that make any sense to you? Let's put this over here. I'm getting ready for coffee here, guys. Yeah. Coffee, coffee. Alright, so this and this one and this one is the one I'm going to have to cut. So this one is going to go, we're going to say right about here, and this wire can be channeled out, so I'm not going to worry about the wire. I want to make sure the name is on the top. And then this is going to go there. Actually, I'll do it this way. There. Okay. Now I do want to put some lock nuts on this, so that's going to be my next thing. Lock 'em nuts. So let me go find a couple little lock 'em nuts. Little lock washers, rather. I got lock nuts here, but not that small. But I do have tiny little, what you call it in here? Lock washers. We'll put a locker washer there, a lockama washer there, and we will put this little acorn nut on it there. Another lock washer down here, and another acorn nut down there. I'll probably end up loosening up. I'm just kind of prototype fitting it here, and I'll tell you what. Those acorn nuts may not tighten up enough, so I may have to just put regular nuts on there, or another washer to make up some thickness. Yeah. So meanwhile, this is just going to be a long video, guys. That's all I can tell you. That's going to go right there. Yeah. You know what? I may not even use these other set. This set here. Let me get them out of here for a minute. Because the more I think about it, how many do I need? Which ones went with this one? Baby, I do. Okay. Because I mean, I just had one here before and it was plenty. So now I got two, the same size as the one was. So why have an extra two? I just have to decide what I want to do with these wires. There's two wires that I got to deal with, and I really don't like wires being exposed. However, I guess I can tuck them down underneath the channel. And there's no way, well, there is a way, because I got to cut this one anyway. So there is a way. I just have to take a chance and drill a hole, and I hate doing that. Because if I take a wire out, I'm screwed. And that reminds me here, I gotta put a clamp on this so that it doesn't fall through the hole. There. Okay, so first, are these going to tighten up enough to stop this from rattling? So I got to know if that's going to happen, or do I have to put an extra washer in there? So let's get that done first. I would think it should be okay. They're not going to, well, it's China, so who knows. Yeah, good. Okay, so I don't have to worry about that. I am going to loosen them up though and put a little Loctite on there, even though I have the lock washers. So keep those loose. Now let me get this one done, and then I'll go over to the solder station and get that taken care of. Because I got to cut this wire short. It's way too long. Having a little extra is fine. If I didn't, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing there. However, wasn't that howdy doody? Let me put a lock washer on this one. You notice lately there is nothing good on TV. I mean, I don't know about you guys. Now, I may be one of the odd ones, but I don't watch sports. My wife doesn't watch sports. We really don't care about sports. You know, and if you go to Comcast or any of them, you know, they give you 240 channels, but 100 of them are sports channels. And then you got another 50 or so of news channels that deliver nothing but fake news. So, and that's all of them. I don't say that, you know, one is any better, or one does the right one and the other one does the wrong one, because I may think this one's got the same, or it thinks the way I think, so therefore it's the good news channel, you know, because I like the way they talk, and, you know, no, I don't look at it that way. You know, if they can't talk the news without giving their opinion involved in it, I don't want to hear it. Yeah? Their opinion means nothing to me. My opinion is what counts. So anyway, we have all these news channels. CNN, CNN Live, CNN with So-So, CNN with doo-doos, and CNN with cockamamie bullshit. You know, I mean, all right, we got to have more than one CNN channel. Yeah. We got to have more than one of these, more than one of those. Yeah. Then we have to have the sports channels with the news. So by the time you're done, you may have 30 channels to breeze through. Now that you breeze through those 30 channels, you got to find one that you like. Because now they're all that fake reality stuff, filled with drama. If it doesn't have drama going, it's not a good channel. You can't even watch a good car show, which I'm not into that either, to be honest with you. All right. Yeah, I watch some of them, but they're all the same. They're all fixing cars, and they all have to be done at a certain time, and then something happens. Oh shit, now we got a problem. All right? So it's all the same. It's like soap operas. So I don't watch any of those. I get tired of them. There's a couple of them that I watch occasionally. But other than that, you know, you get tired of those as well. And then you go to BBC, and half the time you're watching Planet. You know, which you sit there and you watch wildlife, what's going on in the ocean, what's going on in the skies, just nobody talking, just videos of wildlife with an occasional narrator coming in there and saying something. But I mean, it's even getting to a point to where that's becoming a pain in the ass. You know? And Big Brother and, you know, Temptation Island. Come on, you know? No wonder people are going nuts in this world. Alright? So, alright, so now this has got to get cut. Now this is the main power. No, that's the one I got to cut. Actually, I got to cut this one too, because I'm not going to use all this. This is going to go to there. I don't need all this wire, so I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm going to cut this off right about here for now. Get this out of the way. You know, but and then, you know, what else? Oh, we got all these Hollywood medium. You know, we're going to read you. And then when he goes there, I mean, he's a good kid, I guess, you know, but, you know, he's looking at this star that's on TV, you know, and it says, I don't know you. How can you not know them? You know, do you not watch TV or read news? What do? Go home and lock yourself in a dark room? You know, so, you know that's fake half the time. You know, the Long Island media, all right, she's a wacko, and at this point, fake. I think I told you. A person was going to see the Long Island medium. Now they research you. When you get tickets, you have to give them information. You know, and then it takes them a while to research. That's why you don't get in right away, because they have to research everything. You know, and if they're researching you and you didn't give them all the right information, well, then you may get the ticket naturally, but you're not going to be called upon. You know, your dead grandfather's not going to come to say hi, which we'd like that to happen. But meanwhile, you know, they research. Now, the other thing they do is they have moles in the not in the audience, but when you're standing out in line to get into the audience. They have people out there that listen. You know, they're part of the so-called audience waiting to get in, just like you are. But they're not. They're working for the people there. They're working for the station. And they listen. And they may even start a conversation with you to get you to open up. Oh, gee, who you here to fight? Oh, well, I want to talk to my brother or my cousin, my father. Oh, yeah, well, blah, 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 blah. And you start opening up, thinking you're talking to another person like yourself, and you're going to have all these little memories, and everything's going to happen, and you're so excited, you're not even paying attention, and meanwhile, they're sucking it all up, and it's probably half of it's being recorded, you know, through a device. And in a lot of states, they can record you. Only one has to be aware of it. For instance, if I know I'm recording you, I'm one. That's all that counts. So, but even if it's not, they're listening, you know, and they're hearing, they're listening, and they're paying attention as to what you have on and everything. So now, you know, they tend to go in with you or disappear somewhere within the system, and the next thing you know, they're talking to the person in the back that's with what's her face, you know, and they're feeding her. Well, listen, there's this woman out there that's got on a bright red this with a purple this and dark hair and, you know, one eyeglass missing or whatever the case may be. They describe you, and she's here to talk to her Uncle Ralph, you know, who died 4 years ago with stomach cancer. And so now she goes out there and she's walking through the audience playing her thing, and the next thing you know, I'm feeling somebody, Ralph maybe, Ray, you know, and then, you know, now, oh, you know, and then, okay, there's two of them, but this is the one that's got on the purple with the one eyeglass thing missing, you know, so, you over there with the purple, you know, Ray, does that ring a bell to you? You died with cancer or had a problem with breathing, lung cancer maybe? You know, oh yeah, well, you just told them all that earlier, didn't even realize you were doing it. Yeah. And another one that used to do that was that guy John somebody. Shit, I don't remember his name. But there was another guy that used to do it, John. He used to be on TV a lot. So meanwhile, you take these and that's what happens. You know, and if you want to have a special appointment and sit in and have, you know, a one-on-one, well, that's going to take at least a year because they have to research you deeply. Yeah, so it all depends on how hard it is to research you as to how long you're going to have to wait before you're seen or you have your 15 minutes of fame on TV with this woman that claims she's going to talk to everybody. And she's only going to talk to everybody that she knows that you know that they researched. So, there are things and there are companies online, and I'm sure you guys are all aware of this, that if you pay them a fee, they can tell you anything you want to know about anybody just about. And they're pretty good because a lot of the police departments and fire departments and stuff like that use them as well. So, you know, they're pretty good at that point. And then there's others. Because we love giving out as much information as possible to get a free coupon or 10% off something. Even your apps on your phone. Do you ever look at the phone when you go to download an app and it gives you this thing that you got to hit OK on because you're allowing them to get into parts of your phone? Do you ever see how many things that they're getting into on some of those apps? They're getting right into the IMEI number, right into your phone number, right into the phone ID. You gave them everything that's in your phone. All your contacts and everything. Permission, you gave them a way into the camera. So if they want to eavesdrop on you, they can see. As well as listen. And we just keep giving that information out. Because it's a free app. Or it's a coupon for 10% off. And I've told you this many, 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 many years ago. I've done a lot in my life, as a lot of us have. But I used to work, well, I didn't work for him. I'm going to bring you over here, guys, so hold on. I got to do some soldering over here, so let's go over here and do some soldering and more bullshit and then get some things done. So, meanwhile, back at the ranch, you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing there, are you? No. Yeah, you probably really don't care what I'm doing anyway. I can really start swearing now. No, that ain't going to work. All right, hold on. Hey! I'll fix you in a minute. Remember I was telling you some time ago, I was talking about the patch or the sign that I designed that Goodwill stole, and then they're now using it because my dad was one of the management there. How Goodwill worked back then, I don't know how it works now since they joined up with Easter Seals, but how they used to work back then is management, truck drivers, supervisors and such had to be what we would call normal. They couldn't have any disabilities in any way that we would consider a disability. So, let me turn this down. So meanwhile, sorry guys, after a while, my dad being there, he was there for quite a few years actually. Frank, I can't remember his name now. I said it once before. He's the one that took that paper. I thought it was Nugent, but it wasn't. It was Frank Ionati. I think it was Frank Ionati. That name rings a bell. I don't know. But meanwhile, after a while, my dad, being in the upper part of it, started to notice he really didn't care for the way things were working. And not all the handicapped or disabled or challenged were actually being treated as fair as they're supposed to be treating them, according to what they were advertising to people to get donations. You know, basically it was, non-profit to a point. I think it was non-profit, but meanwhile there was a lot of profit, right? And what was happening was, I got to cut this back on this one because I can't have that heat shrink get hot. So that's why I did the two of them. What was happening was, my dad got tired of working there, basically. And he decided to open up his own place and make it completely non-profit. And again, they couldn't have, handicapped or challenged people driving trucks or running the office, but they can still have them working, and doing meaningful jobs, So he hired, I think he had 7 working for him within the store. He was right across the street. Goodwill was like a 4-story or 5-story high building on the corner of Crown and State. State being one of the main, the main travel road. And when my dad left, he opened up on the corner of State and Crown as well, right across the street, this way. So if you walked out the 2 side doors, Crown Street's in the middle, and that's where it's at. State and Crown, you could look it up on the internet. But meanwhile, and he had a 3-story with elevator. And he started doing the furniture donating and, going out, picking up, tax write-offs, all that kind of stuff for the person that wants to give. And, he was running it like Goodwill. But as far as he knew, he was running it right. And, he tried to do right by all. And he did. And that's it. But meanwhile, he decided that he wanted to do something for the challenged as well as some of the community. So he wanted to have a talent show. Now the talent show was for two things: to raise funds, because they wanted to buy some new trucks and stuff like that, you know, and and do what they had to do, and get the people that have some type of talent, give them something to do, you know, to make them feel like, you know, their talent is going to do something and they're all set, and whatever the case may be. He was trying to do right by everybody, let's put it that way. And so he opened up a company called, a non-profit called the Helping Hands. All right. And when he passed away, actually, somebody took that over, and it shows two hands. I mean, took the name and his logo, which was two hands. I don't even know who it was, nor do I care. You know, he passed away. His business was done. You know, anyway, so much for that. I didn't have the time for it, and that was all there is to it. But meanwhile, when he wanted to do this, he decided to hire a company that promotes and does fundraising. So he hired this fundraising company, and they opened up this place. They come into town or into the state, and this is where you go with the telemarketing and things. They come into the state, you know, like 3 or 4 of them, and they check the state to see which is going to be the most populated and where they feel they can sell the most tickets, all right, and where they're going to get the most, you know, out of it for everything in general, meaning also themselves. And then they rent a spot for a month, you know, because there's always offices that you can short term, you know. They have the phones put in. Now all this is being done under the name of my father's place, which was the Helping Hands. So there was like, I don't know, 10 phone lines into this office, this one little building that has a little room for rent, you know, that was a so-called an office. You know, they have little desks and chairs and all that in there, and they tell you how many do you need. Oh, I need 10, you know, and so on. But meanwhile, to make a long story short, they come in, and then they got to know who to call. Now, they had phone books out then, but that's a hit and miss, believe it or not. By the way, I'm going to solder these 2 wires together here. I want to make sure I got the right ones, and I've showed you this before. When I'm going to solder, I got the 2 red ones. I'm going to cross them about midpoint, and then I'm going to twist them in opposite directions. One is that'll help hold the wire, and it'll keep the wire size about the same, so I'm not going to have a big glump, you know, with a heat shrink around it. Yeah. So now I'll take these. I don't need all this, so I'm just going to take that and get that off right there. Now you don't want any little ends, because if you have ends and they get solder on them, they're going to be dangerous. What's going to happen is that those little ends are going to get hard, and when you put the heat shrink on around them, the heat shrink, the end will stick right through the heat shrink, and then you got a possibility of a short, which is what you were trying to avoid to start with. Did I turn this on? Yeah, I did. Okay. Apparently you weren't on long enough. Because that should do what I need to do, like, instantly. There, okay. So, what do? They have something that they buy. They call it tap sheets. And back then, they didn't have computers. So these tap sheets were all on index cards. And they were in a shoebox. And what you would do is, as a promoter, you would buy the sheets by the box. Now, I don't remember what a shoebox of tap sheets were costing back then, to be honest with you. All I do know is that I went with them to New Jersey, and we're in Connecticut, And we met up with these other promoters in a hotel room that was also promoting something there. And what they do is, when they make a call, they pull out a tap sheet, the index card. It's got your name, your phone number, and all your information on it, as much as they can possibly have at that point. And they try to get as much as they can on you. And then they put X's and O's. And the X's and O's would indicate if you gave or didn't give. So it kind of gives the next guy who buys this box of tap sheets from you an idea onto, are you going to bite? Are you going to buy, or are you not going to buy? So they look for the hits first, and then they'll start going down onto the ones that they're not sure about once they do the one with the hits. You know, so if you're known as a hit, you know, you're going to keep getting hit, and you're going to keep giving money. So they're going to keep giving you your little zero to say, okay, you're good. All right. And then they put it down on that tap sheet. Well, we ended up with 5 boxes for the Hartford area, because that's where we were. That's where they decided the town that they wanted to use, because that's going to be the town that's going to have the most going for it. Most businesses, most money in the town at the time, you know, per cap and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's a real game. I mean, you know, they're not just picking numbers out of a hat. And then they go through this thing. Now, as they go through it, they also try to get you for information. Part of it was, let's sell you first a ticket or a pair of tickets to this talent show. And it's going to be for the handicap, or the challenged, and, you know, the neighbor, the local talent, to give them a break and possibly be, you know, found, you know, or whatever, and you know, get them out there. Plus, you're going to be going to a show and enjoying yourself. So they have all these good things to talk about. And as they're talking about these things with you, and they already got some of your money, they don't just shut you off. They continue to talk to you like they're becoming your friend, because they want to know more. Oh, yeah, well, how long you been in Hartford? You know, yeah. Oh, how old are you now, roughly? You know, are you considered, you know, a senior, or, you know, do you own your own home? You know, and people sometimes just talk, you know, and that's what was going on. So these tap sheets really started to fill up. And then what they were doing, they were done with the tap sheets that have also been, you know, added to now, so they're more valuable. Then they put them out on the market and they sell them to another promoter. And then that promoter does the same thing, and he sells them on to another promoter. So every time this one shoebox, in our case it was 5, but we'll say one shoebox gets tapped and added to, it becomes more valuable, and then it goes to the next con artist to use to try to sell you something on what they're going to be selling. It could be anything that they're trying to sell you. And that's what they used to use, tap sheets. And why did I get on that? Oh, about giving out information. You know, how we just pass it out. And how with the day of the computer and things, you know, these mediums, you know, they know everything they need to know. They really do. The only way I would trust a medium is if I was able to call her on the phone, or him, say, listen, and I'm not even calling you from my phone, payphone. Listen, I want to see you tomorrow, 1 o'clock at a coffee shop. I'll wear an orange hat. You don't know what my name is. You don't know the number I called you on. You know nothing other than you're going to meet me at a coffee shop with an orange hat, and that's it. Now, read me. And if you can read me, with me not answering any of your questions, because I'm not going to answer. Right? I'm not going to give any type of response. You're just going to tell me everything that you can tell me about me. Because, see, a good medium is going to be able to read your answers and your nods and your facial expressions and all that kind of stuff. So you really have to, pay attention to these things. So, but, and then if you can come through and start telling me some personal information about my family and myself, right, and the ones that passed, naturally, that's the ones I'm thinking about. Until then, I'm not going to believe you. That's all there is to it. Because I know how it works. I do. I've been there. Well, not me personally, but I know people that have gone to see this guy, John, and also that woman there, that Long Island medium, blonde, whatever, and even that was getting tired, her show, so they had to put drama into that. So her husband, Larry, I think his name is, decided to leave. So, I mean, it's a possibility that he did, but to me it's more show. It's more ratings, we need him to leave. You got to be living together, but we're going to say that he's in California with a California address, and then when we film, we'll have a film guy out there filming, and we'll have you here filming, so, we'll do what we have to do. It's just me. I don't make it a habit of trusting anything like that. But again, back to the TV shows. This is all that you see out there nowadays. Drama. You can't watch it. You know what? The wife and I enjoy watching more kids shows and movies than we do normal stuff. And even then you gotta watch it. I have a problem with this torch head. You see what this is doing? It's going pitter, 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 pitter. Well, I've only had that for about 20 years. Okay, so we're all set here, I think. Let's hook it up and see. And if it works over here on the bench, it should work over there on the light bar. And as you can see, it is working over here on the bench. Now, I have to decide first what pattern I want, and is it going to hold that pattern? Whoop! Sorry, guys. All right. But meanwhile, this talent company I was talking about, that my father hired to help promote the talent show he wanted to put out there for the kids and things. Come to find out, 2 days before the show, they took all the money in the account and left. They ran out of town with all the money. So, needless to say, my father ended up with no money, had to make good for everything that they stole. The talent show went on, but it was a complete mess. And they did put out a warrant for him, and as far as I know, they got him, because it's hard for you to hide. I mean, there's only so many different IDs and things that you can buy before, the face itself starts to become the recognizable piece. Okay, so this is where we're at here. Boom, boom. Okay, now this one's a little different. This one goes off the ground. Which is actually pretty good, because if I want to do that now, I can. Okay, so if I disconnect this now from power and put it back on, is it going to maintain that pattern? Yes. Okay. Okay, good. So we're working, guys. So now we can go over there and hook this up. Hook this up. Well, actually, I should bring the bar over here because I gotta solder this. I want it soldered. I don't want it just sitting there, twisted and taped. You know, it's hot in here, but it reminded me that I haven't put any wood in the fire for a few minutes here. Probably over an hour. So hold on a minute. Yeah, they put some wood on the fire. Hi, guys. Yeah, they put some wood on the fire. You're right there, guys. Hi, you're right there. Yeah, I was down just to some few red gizmos. Alright, so we're going to take that right there. Now this wire that's in here is marine grade wire. It is. I wouldn't kid you now. Okay, so we're going to put a little flux on that, a little flux on that. We're going to move that white wire out of the way because I may want to. Oh, I gotta put a little heat shrink down on this because I want to shrink it. I don't want to use a butt connector. I want to use heat shrink. Let's get you down in there. Come on, get down the side. There you go. There you go. That's what I want to see. You know, the good thing with sometimes with this LCD stuff is that it's low voltage. You know, as far as amps, it doesn't take a whole lot of amperage when you're running it, which is nice. And if one burns out, you still have a lot there, hopefully. Like in my case, one side, come on, I got the sticky flux all over my fingers. Like I said, in my case, one side burnt out, but I still had some blue. So for that reason, it's pretty good. Come on, get out of there. Did I get you? Okay. No, I gotta get this red one soldered because this red one is a little short. Short, short, short. Now this one's going to be a little tough because it's real close. If you can see that heat shrink, it's like right there. And I don't want it to get hot because if it does, it's going to close up on me and it'll be useless. Whoops. And I'm knocking everybody over here today, aren't I? So this is going to be a quickie, hopefully. There. One more, come on. There you go. Good deal. Now let me get you over that real quick before you do anything else. Good. All right. So that one's done. Now what the hell's falling? Jeez. There. That's probably got too much shit in it. Or too much fuel. It's overfilled, guaranteed. Well, it could be just a loose. I gotta check the front end on it. It could be just loose. So here's where the flux comes in handy, because it helps that solder to get in there and do what it's got to do real quick, real clean, and does what it has to do. Okay, now I can slide this up over that, and that's done. Yeah. Oh, I see what it is. I see what it is. Shame on me. There. Now, I won't be able to use it for a minute, but that should take care of it. I'm thinking, anyway. It looks cleaner than it did. Okay, so now, do I want to? I don't know. And what I'm thinking is, when I said, do I want to, do I want to add a wire to that white wire and just leave it tucked underneath, so if I need it, it's there to change the pattern in case it changes on its own by being off for too long a time. I don't need a lot, I just need a little. I don't want to use that, it's got an end on it. I want to keep it the same color. This will probably be enough, because all you got to do is be able to touch the bar. Yeah, okay. Leave enough here so I can attach a wire to it if I have to on that plug. Anyway, like I say, the crap that's on TV nowadays is just what it is. You can never find anything halfway decent anymore. You know what we do watch, I like, you know, it's something you just can watch and enjoy. You don't have to, you know, sit there and try to figure it out or anything. But I like, and they're taking it off the air. I mean, because nobody wants to do it anymore. Big Bang. I think that's kind of entertaining, actually. I like that. Now, I never liked Friends, but for some reason, The Big Bang kind of just caught my attention there. So I'm going to leave it just like that. So, but, yeah, I still have more wire if I need it. Alright, so I'm going to tuck you guys down inside there, because you guys are hooked up to switch number 1. So let me get you tucked down in there and put you over here. Actually, I'm going to move you out a little bit, and then I'll tuck this down some more there. Because if I want to pull this out, I can. Well, you know what? I want to get that white wire out of the way. I'm going to try to keep that exposed as much as possible. we watch that talk show there in England, the Ken Norton, is it? I don't even remember. All I know is we watch it and I like it. So we watch him. But even him now, it's a lot of repeats. And that's that other one out there now. Got that black detective, and then it had the other guy, the white detective, and they actually got rid of the other guy and brought in somebody else because the other guy apparently was hard to get along with or hard to work with. I don't remember something. Mel Gibbs did a movie or 1, 2, and 3 on it, whatever. We watched that. You know, the wife likes to watch things like Ghost Asylum or something, or Ghostbusters or stuff. You know, she watches that kind of stuff. But again, there's really nothing out there anymore to watch. You know, I mean, it really isn't. Everything. You know, Roseanne, you can't even watch what's the Connors now. But I mean, even that, everything is so either political or gay or what. Why can't we just have something to watch? Why do we have to zero in on one or the other? You know what I mean? It seems like since what's her name there, Becky, became the, I guess, the producer or whatever. You know, everything has changed, and it's not like it used to be. With or without Roseanne, you know. I mean, they used to have their digs on everything, but everybody had a dig. You know, they picked on everybody, not just on one. All right, so that's going to go there. So let me tuck that up in there. And that's going to go right there like that. And we're going to tuck this underneath there. So that's going to fit right there. Right there. Okay, let me get I think I got some small soft tappers I can get away with over here. Pan heads. I want to make sure it's a pan head. I want short. No, that's not the pan head, nor the short. Oh, these will work. Okay. Well, like I said, there's just things out there that aren't worth watching anymore. I watch very little, or we watch very little, I guess you would call it network channels anymore. I mean, you know, like Channel 8, Channel 3, those are our local networks. We watch very little network channels. I'm hoping I can do this without putting a drill in there. These are self-tappers, but they don't always work on everything. Good. But it just suck. So used to it. Good. Good show. Then you got you know what I watch a lot? Where are you? Where did I put you guys? Oh, you're over there. I'm sorry. You know what I watch a lot? Believe it or not, I watch a lot of Bravo. Yeah, I do. But even some of that is getting to be a pain in the ass. used to like watching the, all right, now let's just check this one more time. I'm plugging it into here. So first I'm going to get all these wires, well, I better not put the wires away yet. I want to check it first. But, what's that there, $1 million listings? You know, they had it in New York, and then they had it in LA or whatever. I find that interesting at times, and I find that some of them are interesting to watch and how they try to hustle. But again, you don't know how much of it is real. You know what I mean? That's all there is to it. But I find it to be somewhat interesting. The housewife things, forget about it. You know, forget about it. Yeah, that's not going to happen. You know, all I can say is thank God my wife isn't like that. So, okay, so what I got to do here is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some wire ties on this to hold this down temporarily. Temporarily. But, I watch occasionally, the hell is it? That tells you just how much I watch them. Below Deck, I think it's called. Only because I was into boating and I kind of liked the show because of that. Now my boat wasn't that big, or our boat wasn't that big. Our boat was only, hold on, I'm looking for some ties here. Our boat was only, well, that ain't gonna work. Try this one more time. Guess I'm gonna have to do it this way. I don't want to use two long ones, but I guess I have to. Our boat was only 52 feet. And compared to some of these boats that they're showing on there, they're not, those are yachts. I mean, I was borderline yacht, I guess, but, you know, we only had 2 rooms. We didn't have a whole entourage of rooms. There. I mean, in the aft cabin, you know, the guest room, they did have their own air conditioning and heating and their own bathroom with showers and air conditioning. Well, I said that. Television, their own seating area, you know, had a big pocket door so they were able to walk in and do what they had to do. You know, it was like a regular room. And it had a large 48-inch pocket door. So if you had to bring luggage or get in and out of there, you had no problem with it. You know, we were actually looking at a bigger one. And in a way, I'm glad we didn't buy it because, you know, it started to get, 1, expensive, 2, a little tiresome for me to handle. Not so much handle the operations of it, but keeping it in good shape. Because I wasn't about to pay the yard $100 an hour to do something that I was able to do. That's all there was to it. Yeah, but they didn't have rates to where, oh, you want your boat washed? Okay, we only charge you X amount to wash your boat, you know. No, you're still paying by the hour per man. So if they put 3 men on washing that boat, you're paying $300 an hour. So I always did everything myself. Unless It was an unless I really couldn't get to it, or it was a really tough job, because then it was worth the money to have them do it. Like one day I had a couple of leaky through-hull fittings, and what a through-hull fitting is, it's a hole in the bottom of the boat with a strainer of sort on the bottom. Nothing that's going to clog unless you go into a jellyfish or something, but other than that, it was a way for water to either get out or get in. So, and they had a shut-off valve on them. So, what would happen, before I go any further, I gotta make sure these are gonna work. So I gotta test these. So I got to find out which one of these is ground now, because I don't remember. So let me get a meter. So meanwhile, two of them were dripping, and when they drip, they're leaking into the bilge. Now they weren't leaking that bad. They may have repaired themselves because they were out of the water for a while. So sometimes when a boat's out of the water for the season, things will dry up a little bit, and then as they get wet and they start to drip again, things are a little bit different. So this is, one of the way it is. I gotta remember which one of those is ground. I thought I marked them, but apparently I didn't. I don't want to take it apart and ruin the seal. So the only way to check it, I guess, is to put it on the vehicle. So I'm going to have to wait. You know what? I'm going to put the stuff on it anyway. Let me get it done. I'm pretty well sure of my work. So I had two choices. Either I can get it done, or wait and put it in the water. And that was on my Formula. That wasn't on the bigger boat. That was the Formula. That was the 36 foot. No, that was the 34 foot. All right, it was the PC Formula. So it was out of the water for the winter, so we put it back in. So either I can take it and have them put it in the water and hope that it'll seal, up itself, which a lot of times they will. Like I said, once the water drips through there a little bit, the seals tend to swell up, and you're all set. And seeing that it's always going to be in the water, you don't have to worry about it until the next year. So, or fix it. Now, to have them fix it, we were looking in the neighborhood. Well, they could have repaired them or replaced them. It adds up to about the same amount of money, because if you're going to repair it, it takes more time. But the part is cheaper, but you're paying more labor. If you're going to replace it, you're going to spend more for the part, but it gets done a lot quicker. So if I put it in the water and play the odds, thinking, okay, it's going to repair itself, which if it did, there would be no problem with it. It's still trustworthy. It's still good. But if it doesn't, I got to pay to have it removed, to have it taken out of the water, blocked, so they can repair it, and then put back in again. And that can get expensive. I need some black. I want some black caulk. So those are the odds, So I said, you know what? It was a pain in the ass because you really need two people to do it, to get it done right, or without killing yourself anyway. And hold on a minute, I'm looking for some black caulk. Okay. had to go into my inventory cabinet. Black Buck. So I decided, you know what, let's just get it done. So not only did I have them do the two that were dripping, I said, you know what, you might as well just do them all. Because if two of them are dripping, it's only a matter of time that the other ones are going to start to drip. And if I'm lucky, drip. You know, I don't want to be out there and have these things pop or start to run faster than what the bilge pump will take, because then who the hell knows where you're going to be. I mean, I don't want to be out in the middle of the water, you know, 30 minutes from the nearest marina or better, and then have to go like hell to get in because I'm taking on water. Now, there's certain things you can do if you have to help. However, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But again, the best thing to do is just get them finished. So I had them all done. Now, what can you do? Let's just say that, for instance, let's just say that we're out and about, and all of a sudden we start taking on water. A hose blew, an intake, and it's taking on water like crazy. The pumps are running, the bilge is filling up. What can you do? Well, there's a few things you can actually do, believe it or not. Would I want to do it? No. Would it work? In a pinch. Will it keep you afloat forever? Probably not. But in my case, or in most cases of the larger vessels, I got two engines running down there, and they take in water. They're hooked up to one of those true hulls that I was talking about, so it takes in water. Yeah, they're water cooled. Now in my case, mine had a radiator as well. Each one had a radiator, but it took water in, brought it through and around the radiator to cool the water down that was in the radiator. So, you know, it had like, you know, almost like, well, the motor, what happens with that, what's good about that is my motors were freshwater cooled. All right, they weren't saltwater cooled, because there was fresh water within the radiator and everything. The salt water was just cooling down the freshwater chambers, because it's not like you got radiators out on a car where you're driving and the wind is blowing in, you know. But meanwhile, they do have the water coming in, and some are just salt water cooled. They have the salt water coming in, that cools the water down. Those motors don't last as long, they take a little bit more maintenance. However, what you do is you turn off the through hull valve that brings the water into the motor. You take the hose off the valve. That's why you want to turn it off, because we don't want water coming in through that, because it will. It'll fill the boat right up. So you turn that off, you take the hose off, and you stick it down in the bilge where the water is. When you start the motor back up, I wouldn't recommend doing it with the motor running, because you don't want to get caught in the motor. When you start the motor back up, instead of it taking water out from the ocean, it's going to start taking it out of the bilge, because it's going to want that water. See? So as it's taking it out of the bilge and blowing it out the exhaust, you're kind of keeping that bilge going, so the motor is almost acting as a pump. You follow me? Now the thing is, sometimes you haven't got time to do that, and there's also times to where there's not enough water coming in to do that because you don't want your motor to starve. All right, so you know, it's a catch-22 at that point. But those are options. All right, so we got that there. This is going to sit for a few minutes. I do want to plug that hole. Do I have enough right here? I do. So just let me put a little plug on that. Here we go. And I do have something to put over this, so I don't have to worry about that. Alright, well this has been a super long video, guys. I'm going to shut it down for now because I want this to kind of dry. And when I get ready to go put this on the truck, I'll take you out there with me. Because the brackets are still there. All I have to do is put these 2 bolts in each side, and it's done. Voila! It's done. Alright, and I should be able to plug it in. The switches are all ready. The switches are there. The switches are plugged in on the other side of that plug. So that's it. So that's where I'm at. You know, while I have this off, I may do one more thing. Even though I got a good ground from point A, let's check that. Hold on a minute, guys. Boy, for those of you who like long videos and just want to listen to a lot of nothing, this is going to be the one. You guys hear that? Okay. I want to check from this side to this side. I got continuity. Okay, that's what I want. I wanted to make sure that I had a good ground all the way across. And I do. Good. Good. Alright. So I don't have to worry about adding an extra ground strap, which I was going to add a braid underneath, but I thought that I was pretty well set. And this is aluminum, and what I want, you know what I am going to do? Yeah, I am going to. This is aluminum. I'm going to put a ground strap from this screw over here, which you don't see. I'm going to put a ground strap from here to this up here. Because this is aluminum. Now I'm getting continuity through it, but I'm going to, I don't know. I might be just wasting my time. Yeah, I'm not going to look for any more work. If it was summertime, that'd be fine. Alright guys, I'm going to shut you down. I'm going to finish my coffee, and I'll be back. Okay. So, let's put this back up. Okay, so this goes right here, like so, and this goes here, like so. One side at a time. Yeah. Come on, let's be nice. Shame on me. There you go. It's actually warmed up. It's nice out. I'll show you what I'm doing when I get to the other side. I don't know if you guys can see the plug or not. See that? That's the power plug. This plugs right into that. I just got to find the right position. Right there. go to the other side. And I'll tighten this up in a minute. Sorry guys. See, what I do is I put these brackets here. And these brackets are bolted through the rain gutter. So there's nothing there as far as it goes into the truck itself. And it's got a sealant, so I don't have to worry about them. So, and then I take this, put it on there. I can adjust it for height on both sides, which I will do as I go along. But what I'm looking for here is, oh, here they are. There we go, all the accessories. So let's put this up here. Put that one in. Bring it up a little bit so I can get in there. Hey, kiddo. A fungal. Okay.
Starting to get cold again.
Yeah. And one of my lights went out, so I had to replace it. Right in the middle of the cold weather. Yeah.
I didn't think this little bugger was going to start the other day.
Yeah.
Kind of complained and screamed and kicked. I was like, okay.
It's saying, put me in the garage.
I can't. I got a stove in there.
Oh.
I had to install the stove before I could put it in the garage.
Did you get the kitchen finished?
Yeah, and I'm waiting for the guys to come. They got one small countertop.
Oh, okay. So basically it's all done.
Yeah, it's usable. I still got the backsplash to finish.
Oh, okay.
And then do the outlet. And then
Yeah, well, like you say, it's usable, but it's not right.
yeah, the bathroom upstairs is usable. It's just still got
Yeah. Yeah, well, shower's a must.
And then I got to figure out how to get the sink because I can't get it up there.
Yeah. What about work? How you doing with that? You still home or you got... There you go. Now it's time to mail. Bills!
That's all, it's more junk mail than anything.
Oh, psh, tell me about it. I'm going to raise this up just a little bit more. I have about I got about an inch or so of adjustments on this if I want to make it higher or lower. Now, let's get a lock on this. Cinch up those lock nuts. There. Now let's screw this back in. I'm not using it, but there's no sense having it hang around and get ruined by the weather. If I want to use it, I can. Basically, it's for an antenna to fit into. There, let me get the pliers and put a little winch on it. A little snuggarooski. You don't want to over snug them, but it doesn't hurt to have a little snug. Let's go back to the other side. Wait a minute, I got my sleeping bag to come along with me. not bad. And same thing over here. Alright, now I want to make sure that we're straight. And I wanted to have just a little tilt down a little bit there, like that. That about right? That's right, right there. Good. That doesn't look quite right. There. May have to go to the other side again and bring it down to here. Oh, I'm over here. I got you guys over there. I may have to bring it down a little bit on that side. I may have taken it up a little too high. Come on, be nice. There we go. Let's see if it looks straight or not. And that'll tell me. No, that side's got to come down. See it? Okay. Not by much, but I went a little crazy on this side. I like it to fall where it wants to fall, you know, without too much stress being on it. So, I have to come down just a hair. That's it. I went a little crazy on this side. Made it just a wee bit too high. Well, I called 911, active 911. That's the program that we use with the problem that I was having. And they were reluctant to give me what I was asking for, but I got it. There's a way of resetting, but see, they don't like to hand it out. There's a certain part of the menu that if you tap it 5 times, it'll give you, or reset the Google Cloud and the map. If you tap it 3 times, it'll reset the system with them. So if you want to reset the whole thing, you hit it 5 times, you wait a minute, and then you hit it 3 times. That resets the Google Cloud and resets their system with you. Alright, so that's done. Now, let me see if I got my key. My key, it's somewhere under all my garments. Yeah. Now I gotta lift my sleeping bag. What does it have? No, it doesn't. I don't want to put a slit in it either, because I don't want any openings. I want it to do what it has to do. And if I put a slit in it, it's not going to do it. done, I bring the ladder in. First, let me put this antenna back up. Seeing that it's a magnetic. Stick it here for now. And then turn you guys off for a minute.